we're finally able to begin the interviews with respective offensive and defensive coordinators as they look to find their new head coach after the dismissal of Pete Carroll. So the team completed 8 interviews over the first round of the potential window. Obviously, Dan Quinn is a familiar name amongst the Seattle fan base, considering his time here in Seattle as a defensive coordinator. Helped lead the Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl, the one that they lost to the New England Patriots in dramatic fashion, and has recently spent some time with the Dallas Cowboys as their defensive coordinator. Dallas most recently getting knocked out of the playoffs by the Green Bay Packers. Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith. Frank Smith is a guy who came over to help lead the offense in Miami with Mike McDaniel. Their offense has performed really well over the last few years. Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero has gotten some attention as well around the league, and he's kind of viewed as a sleeper. The person you see on your screen is Los Angeles Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. Bobby Wagner, in being asked about his potential candidacy for a head coach around the league, not specifically about the Seahawks, gave him his endorsement after Wagner spent 1 season with him. New York Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, who used to be a quarterback actually in the NFL for a bit, a long time backup quarterback, was a finalist for the Cardinals head coaching job last season, was an interview. Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson was interviewed. He's been a popular pick around the league as well. The Lions obviously having some success reaching the NFC Championship game this year. He's been popular around circles. Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick was somebody interviewed. And then the last one of the 8, Las Vegas Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Only 5 of those 8 first-round candidates were given a second interview with the team. Everybody, it was Quinn, Graham, Evero, Morris, and Kafka. So Ben Johnson, kind of surprisingly, did not get a second interview with the Seahawks. Slowick did not get one. So kind of interesting there to see Johnson. I was a little surprised, just given the success that he's seen with the Lions. I know last week we talked about it. Mike Holmgren told John Schneider to go after an offensive mind, so he would have been at the top of that list. A lot of people are looking at Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald, but he hasn't done any interviews at all. So they might wait. They'll have to wait now until the offseason to interview him. He's been a strong candidate considering how good the Ravens defense has been this year, and just has schemed really well. So in addition, though, to the head coaching job, the Seahawks will need to look for a new offensive coordinator as well. We just talked about some of the offensive minds because Shane Waldron, who was a Seahawks offensive coordinator under Pete Carroll, is working on signing a deal with Chicago Bears to take the same position. So head coach, you'll need to fill that position. You'll need to fill the offensive coordinator position, as well as the fact that John Schneider has said that the team doesn't plan on rebuilding. So, you're going to have to stay competitive. You're going to have to bring a few guys back. Jordan Brooks, Leonard Williams. There are some contract decisions to be made. So it's safe to say it's going to be a really busy offseason for John Schneider and the Seahawks team. And of course, as always, we will be able to keep you up to date with that, whether it's every week here on Circling Seattle Sports on Converge Media or, through our social media posts. And I will drop this in there just so you're able to keep up to date on that. So that's what we've got for the Seahawks right now. If you've been following the NFL world, you'll know that the Lions and the 49ers will play in the NFC Championship game, and the Chiefs and the Ravens will be playing in the AFC Championship game. So if you're going to ask me for my pick, it's anybody but the Niners. I just would not want to deal with that. It would be really cool to see the Lions win a Super Bowl. I know my buddy Everett Fitzhugh would really enjoy that. The Ravens defense has been incredible. Lamar Jackson should win MVP. So, I mean, I also would prefer to not see the Chiefs win a Super Bowl again. So anyway, that's kind of the null point. We'll probably have some more news on the second interviews from those 5 candidates that the Seahawks will be looking at. It's going to be interesting to see how much traction Quinn continues to get, as he's gotten a few second interviews around the league as well outside of the Seahawks. So a reminder as well that all of these are virtual. The teams can't meet in person until the offseason officially begins after the Super Bowl. So we go from the Seahawks there and all that sort of coaching carousel kind of things. This has been one of the slower off seasons in terms of coaching changes already in quite some time, which is unique. So it'll be interesting to see how the Seahawks play out and how they make their decisions ultimately to find a new head coach.